Hi, hello. Welcome to Bakes in a Box, the podcast where we talk about baking, business, and being functional adults, even when we don't want to.
This podcast gives you fly-on-the-wall access to conversations that two busy entrepreneurs would have on a regular basis. A little bit of whinging, a little bit of whining, and also some helpful tidbits to use on your baking journey.
Find out how two best friends ended up running businesses just down the street from each other. From baking and making the things we love to how to navigate the cutthroat wedding industry. We cover it all.
It's time for another episode of Bakes in a Box. Let's get into it. All right, now that we have that out of the way, ask yourself, Lenore, have you done any editing of that last one so that we can have a sound answer? No, you can pull yours still.
I'm always so afraid I'm gonna. Oh.
Never ending guitaring.
There we go. It's getting comfy.
Happy?
Yes.
We love to be comfortable. Jessica, we are gathered here today. Do you know
in front of your adorable cat?
Yeah, my cat won't leave us alone. It's fine. I love him and whatever, but he won't leave us alone. I like him and whatever. Mm-hmm. You know? I hope you can hear those freaking jingles on here. Jingle, jingle, jingle. Oh, cool. We're even still warm.
Oh, it left it there. I love it.
No.
No,
Iggy, get the heck out of here.
It's like, oh, you started recording? It's my time to shine.
You can't be meowing over here. Go upstairs. Don't you have a snack or something you can eat?
He has a lot to say this morning. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow. And come up here.
He's like, who's this stranger? Sorry.
You're too chubby. You're too chubby.
He's really bad depth perception.
Oh my gosh. He just tried to jump on my lap and it was a huge cat fail. It was a huge cat fail. Just nothing happened.
Also, I don't know what happened to him in his previous life, but if you have like a blanket over you and he can't exactly sense like where your legs or like a solid part is, he just won't go.
I don't feel secure enough in
like
this.
he'll like, you have a normal space between your legs as human beings do, and he'll feel in between that space and be like, oh no, absolutely not.
This seems too risky for me. Too risky. Oh no.
It's like he played the floor is lava too many times when he was a kitten and got screwed each and every time, and now he's just like, nah. I don't like this game. Yeah. I don't like this game. What, Iggy, are you gonna make the jump over here?
Oh, you couldn't even. Oh, we're gonna try.
He won't jump, but he will stretch. He will make his body as long as possible.
I move my legs just to make the distance just a little bit shorter towards you so that he could make it. Iggy is beautiful.
He is the most beautiful boy. I'm honestly, jingle, Iggy, stop it. Yeah, I am obsessed with him. Mm-hmm. He's my favorite.
We are both cat people. I have my girly Georgie.
Yeah. And
she is a rescue as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they both come with a little bit of baggage, but that's fine.
We all do.
I
actually come with no baggage.
Oh, well, so. It must be nice.
Yeah, it is. It is nice, actually. Thanks for asking. like I don't know where he thinks he's gonna go. We're in our basement, folks, and so we have a bunch of totes lined up, and Ignatius is attempting to judge the distance, and look, he's falling.
Oh no.
He's persevering though.
Everything is coming down.
I'm really proud of him. Yeah, he was standing on a pillow, which Oppie was not gonna hold him. The crazy thing is, though, you would think that this cat, adventurer as he is, he loves to go outside on his little leash. It's very cute, but he's going to go right into that box.
Just head first in the smallest little box.
I wish he would. He's so stupid that he would.
We'll have to take some pictures so we can refer to things so that people know what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolute. Yeah, it's enough. It's enough, cat. We will have to banish you if you keep meowing.
If you keep doing that, if you keep disrupting.
Thank you so much.
Well, try to take photos.
I tried and it didn't
It's one thing
work.
that cats do not like is photos.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sometimes you get him with a little, and then he'll be like, huh? Maybe just enough to get a toy. Just enough. Amazing. Okay. I'm also attempting to back up my phone at the same time because I have 1,047 photos on there, and I could put them on our Instagram and advertise our business, but I don't.
I'm gonna start doing.
He got tape on his
tape! Oh, everything is happening for you right now. Everything is happening for you. It's a chunk of tape stuck on this back paw. Oh, now you're gonna get stuck back there. How are you gonna get out? There you go. There you go.
I don't think he's got it off yet.
No, I don't think so.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, come here.
Oh man, I just hit my mic. Sorry, everybody.
Here you go. You sit.
Will he sit? He's not a dog. He's not gonna sit. Oh man.
There we go. Oh.
Yeah, you were close. You were close.
I try. Okay, so ready to get into it?
Are we ready to get into it? Wait, I think I did a thing, but I actually don't remember where I put it or did it or anything else. Please distract the people with a funny story. Go ahead.
Oh, funny story. So, just life of Jess right now. We are completely renovating our entire main floor, our main floor is our only floor because we live in a bungalow. So on top of just business, life, kids, everything like that, I am living in the middle of a hoard right now because we have taken everything out of 3 bedrooms and put it all into the living room because we have no basement, no attic, no garage. So everything.
You have a garage?
We have a garage, but it is packed full of Mike's tools. There's nowhere to put, and all my crafty stuff. So
I thought you had a shed.
We do have a shed, which is also filled with Mike's tools.
I understand.
Mountain bikes, because every once in a while he's like, I really want to be a mountain biker.
No.
I want to get a BMX bike. I want
exhibit
a skateboard.
To me that you actually do the activity and then you can invest.
Yeah,
How about
and
that?
also he has like 2 dislocated shoulders multiple times.
Does he want to go on Mount Trashmore?
He does, but he's not allowed until he strengthens up his shoulder because it right now he just stretches and it pops out of place. So he needs to strengthen that up before he's allowed to do anything. Anyway, so I'm living in the middle of a hoard right now.
This is supposed to be a funny story.
I know it's supposed to be funny, and I don't know kind of where I went wrong here, but that's all I got right now. I don't really have
I love it.
any funny stories.
I love it. That was funny.
It's funny that my life is in chaos right now, and if you can't laugh about it, then what are you doing?
What are you doing?
But I'm very excited because we've been living in this house for more than 6 years now, and everything is like from the early 90s. Like the flooring.
What a beautiful time to be alive.
What a beautiful time to be alive. But that paint, it's not painting it. It's not staying on the walls anymore. It's literally like peeling off. It's like plasticky, cheap paint. So it has to be updated.
We should get a paint sponsor. Who do we want to sponsor us?
Benjamin Moore.
Yeah, listen.
Beautiful paint.
Benny Moore is what we used in the shop the first time around. Mm-hmm. We did not use Benny Moore for the shed. Unfortunately, we had to go Dulux.
Oh, okay.
But their Life Master is comparable to Benny Moore. I think. And we did not use their contemporary colors, i.e. the colors that they currently have out. We actually had a retro Dulux paint palette thing.
Right.
And I walked in with it and the guy was like, where'd you get that from? I'm like, I cannot reveal my sources, and I still won't reveal my sources. But they were able to mix the colors as they were in that little thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they had to like go back in the what is it? Archives. Good word. Go back in the archives and find those paint colors and mix us fence post, light blush, and street lamp black. And you can actually see them right there just in front of us, Jeff. Oh, yes. Because we're going to paint our wall behind us.
Yes, we will paint our wall behind us.
So that we can have a little video podcast.
Video situation happening as well.
Last week, I know this is not the episode topic. However, last week I did a little bit of homework.
Okay.
And I took our little podcast guideline.
Oh, amazing. I love this.
And I made it. I'm going to make this bigger because I'm blind. I don't know how to.
Yeah, I'd go to 125. Yeah.
Bake. Amazing. Okay. And what's our mission? To have a space to chat about and talk about business and life. That's our mission, you guys.
Yes.
That's it.
You want more? Too bad.
Yeah, that's
all we got for you.
It. Oh yeah, this is true. This whole thing. Post performance cheesers before getting into the season. Can record something to acknowledge.
Yes.
Nice. Can't. I will put it upstairs. Yeah, it's enough. Anyway, this is our little guideline. We have
Ignatius.
Honestly, Ignatius Maximilian, if you don't sit down and behave, you will be banished to upstairs where you have 2 floors and 17
of
rooms.
Your own space. But we're not up there. That's what it is.
He's such a little cuddle whore. I
really
can't stand him.
Purring like mad.
Yeah.
Purring is very calming for those that have anxiety. If you listen to the purring,
true.
it is
A little ASMR Foley moment. We're here for it. Okay, so we're going to do our podcast in seasons. Yeah? Look at these little seasons. And it actually works out really, really well because our first season in terms of recording will end December 2nd. Which is perfect because it's right before silly season.
It is right before silly season.
For those of you who don't know, silly season is, okay, so this is how it works if you make wedding cakes but also have a retail shop. You start the year off in January. Heckin' slow, but you're also exhausted because you just had Christmas, right? So January comes and then you're making your way through January and it's not until it's like January 20th. You're like, my God, Valentine's Day. And so you start getting ready for Valentine's Day, which happens February 14th every year, actually.
People and their stupid love,
and you want sweet treats. It has to be chocolate. Why? Anyway, doesn't matter. Valentine's Day happens. And then after Valentine's Day, you're like, yeah, cool. Super, super chill. And then it's only until you're like February 25th and you're like, good God, February is a short month. It's over in 3 days. What does this mean for us? You're like, is Easter early or late this year?
When is Easter? I just
Is Easter early or late this year?
Somebody just to constantly remind me.
Easter early or late this year?
Easter always creeps up on me every single time.
Do you want to know something? I think last year Easter was in April, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what a beautiful,
what an amazing
situation.
Feeling. Yes,
right. February is Valentine's Day. Also for me, February is Black History Month, which like I have feelings about because folks usually want you to do a little chat for Black History Month. Sorry, we're taking a photo. Want me to do a little chat for Black History Month, and they usually start reaching out, I don't know, February 4th or something like that, because they're like, oh my gosh, actually Black History Month really surprised us this year. We had no idea it was happening in February. We had no idea it was coming up so quickly, et cetera, whatever. And so we do Black History Month and Valentine's Day, and then if Easter is early, it's in March. If it's late, it's in April. And we usually rejoice when Easter is late in April, but we only rejoice in February.
Exactly.
And early March. Because then if Easter is late and it's in April, that means that we have Easter and then only a mere 2 weeks, sometimes 3, before Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
In May. And then Mother's Day happens. And then guess when wedding season starts? May. Now. For some reason.
Yeah.
Wedding season starts in May. Instead of June. People are like, oh, wedding season starts in June. No,
it does not. Sometimes mid-April, it'll even start.
Occasionally you'll get hit with a couple whammies and you're just like, boy, oh boy, I wasn't ready. Wasn't prepared. All right, fine. It's fine. We're going to ramp up. May, wedding season starts. Then you're in wedding season for May, June, July, August, September, October. Hello? How long? What? I thought wedding season was only...
Like it's never ending.
I thought it was June to September. No. It's May to October. And if you're unlucky, November. And it's no shade to those brides who get married in November. No,
absolutely not. I love a winter wedding. Very nice.
A little bit of a break. But then don't forget, in those months of June, there's Father's Day. July is Canada Day. Some people care, some people don't. That's fine. But the people who care, they're mad that you don't have a whole spread for them. How am I supposed to celebrate my country? I don't know. I don't know how to help you. August then happens.
Yeah.
Nothing really happens in August. Most people are going to the cottage. They want things on the weekends so that they can bring them up to their cottages and they can eat them at their cottages and blah, 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 blah. A lot of children have birthdays.
A lot of children have, but I've been noticing what happened to me this year is a lot of people went away in August and got absolutely slammed this month.
September.
With people postponing summer birthdays and celebrating them in September.
Because then kids are back in school. Their kids can actually have a birthday party.
Exactly.
Unlike me and you, both born in the summer. What were your birthday parties like?
It's non-existent.
Right, exactly.
It was... No, my mom would... We had it like... One year we would do a family birthday and then the next year she would do like a friend birthday. But the problem with having a birthday in the summertime, it's like we weren't seeing our friends a lot. So it was just like, I can't hand out invitations.
Yeah.
I can't, you know, people are away at cottages. You know, summer birthdays are hard.
Oh, sorry, we're camping that weekend. Oh, you camp every weekend. Oh my God. Why can't you just stay in town? Well, it's not up to me. I'm 9. I'd be like, yeah, sure.
Tell your parents what's up. Tell your parents
it's important that I'm here.
To do.
Drive me back. Drive me back this 7 hours. Drive me home so I can go to this party. July, August, September. It's like back to school. You know, it feels like a new year. Everything is heckin' busy. And then you get halfway through September and you're like, my God, Thanksgiving. Like for us right now, Thanksgiving is coming.
Thanksgiving is coming.
It's coming. People are like, are you doing Thanksgiving boxes? I'm like, yeah. Have we brought fruit? Yeah. Have we broken it down? Yeah, we have. Yep. Have we made any pie fillings? No. Have we assembled any pies? No. Is our freezer full of pies? No. Yeah. Do I wish it was? Yeah, of course I do.
When you're in this industry, you start preparing for holidays. I don't want to say celebrating. It's not like we're celebrating. But
you never celebrate the holidays.
You have to get, I know, really. You have to get in the mood for a holiday about 4 to 5 weeks sometimes before. Yeah. And especially even with Christmas. We're starting to do Christmas stuff in November. Ugh. Corporate, people are starting their, Christmas events in November. So we need to start doing. So by the time the holiday comes or Christmas, I'm like, I am so over this. I never want to see another Santa cookie or a snowflake cookie.
They were like, Merry Christmas. Again. I'm like, yep.
Next. When's the next holiday? I need to start preparing for it now.
Humbug. Like Easter used to be my favorite holiday of the year. I freaking love Easter. Why do I love Easter? You get together with family. You eat good food. Normally ham.
Oh, a honeyed ham all day.
I love ham
all day.
You don't. There's no pressure. Nobody wants presents at Easter time. You're just getting together with your family. You're having a good time. There's like hardly any commercialization. At least that's entered our family for Easter time. Right? Spend the time at church and then spend time with your family. Beautiful. I love that. How incredible. I hate Easter now. I hate Easter egg-shaped Pop-Tarts. I hate Easter egg-shaped cookies.
Everything is egg-shaped. Egg and bunny. Everything is egg and bunny.
Flowers. Yeah. I hate it. I hate it so much.
So much carrot cake.
I want to love it.
Yeah.
And I don't. And it makes me really sad because I'm like, wow, this thing that was so beautiful and so beautiful in my life, I now despise. I don't want that for me. But that's the reality. It's because of you. No, I'm kidding. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, the things I used to love for the purity of it. Yeah, I mean, Easter, I love seeing the looks on my customers' faces when they're super happy about whatever they get for Easter.
That's what makes it worth it.
Yeah. And especially little kids when they come in and they're like, blah, 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 blah. We're doing it. I'm like, I love that for you. Keep that joy. Keep that. And then never go into hospitality or else it'll be ruined.
Well,
that's just the reality. We each. I bought a thing for us.
It's okay.
It's in the car.
It's all right.
I live out of my car. Anyway, our podcast.
We can have some sound effects here and there. This is real life, people. This is real life.
That's how it works. Our podcast. Our podcast will have 10 episodes a season. It was the attempt to gingerly put it down.
I tried to be so quiet putting my apple juice down.
You did good.
Thank you. Okay, so yes, we're going to have 10 episodes a season.
Yep. We're hoping to do a special season. A season special. We have to ask. I've not asked anything of anyone, but I'm interested in asking the powers that be if we are able to host just a little something. Are we talking about this on here?
I mean, might as well. By the time this comes out, it's
I
going
tried to figure out air dates. It did not work for me.
Oh, it's fine. By the time this episode airs, it's already going to be very evident that we were on a TV show with some other people, and we would love to have those other people that we met and on this podcast to kind of hear about their experience and talk about what that was like. I'm sure that we'll get that approval.
You reckon? You're so positive.
I have to stay positive because I want to, it may be that we have to wait a certain period of time before we're allowed to do that. Yeah. Like maybe we can be like, here, we'll record it and send it to you. You review it. And if, then they can get the go ahead as to
Yeah. Do you hate it or do you love it? And that's it.
Yeah. Or like if there's things that you do not want us to say or do not want us to talk about, then make that very clear. And, but I can't see the show like not wanting us to do something that helps promote it. But you never know with these people. These folks. These good old TV folks. They folks.
Have, listen, the runway that they see into the future, 15, 20, 25 years, we don't see it.
No.
We don't see it. And so we don't know. But we can only assume they are looking at the big picture and not looking at anything else.
Right now, we are just thinking about the next holiday.
Yeah, literally us. Thanksgiving in just a few weeks. Oh, yeah, it's fine. And then, we've had our second season is all planned in terms of recording times as well. Okay, all sorted. I think we even skip a time for Easter in here.
I love the organization.
Will I know when Easter is? No, I don't. It must be somewhere.
It must be somewhere. Right. Even people are trying to place orders and they're like, what's your schedule for Thanksgiving? What's your schedule for Easter? And I'm like, I don't.
Easter, get out of here.
When is Easter again?
Yeah, is Easter early or late?
How about you tell me when I'll be here. You tell me. Yeah, you tell me when I need to be in the shop, and then I will go from there.
Yeah, like you let me know. I'm looking it up right now. Easter 2025. First of all, 2025 makes me feel ill. Sunday, April 20th. That's Orthodox Easter. What does that mean? No, same thing. Same thing. April 20th. Perfect. Easter's late.
I love that.
So April 20th.
Okay.
Mother's Day is 3 weeks
right
after
around
that.
the corner.
3 weeks after that, if I'm not mistaken.
One thing about Valentine's Day and Mother's Day, I will say, is that when the responsibility is mainly on the male population to collect or to get items.
And then what happens?
We always stay open late because there's a whole lot of men knocking on those doors or calling very late being like, do you have anything?
Hi.
Anything?
Hi. I understand that pre-orders are closed. I get it. But
do you have 24 chocolate dipped strawberries? What?
First of all, asking for dipped strawberries in February is insane.
Outrageous. We do not do it. We do. And I was like, we don't even make those.
Yeah.
No.
Anybody in Canada being like, I need chocolate dipped strawberries. No, you don't. No, you don't.
And people will ask for fresh strawberries in the middle of their cake in the middle of winter for a wedding cake. And they're like, do you think the strawberries will be okay?
Oh, what a stupid question.
You asking that, I think you know the answer. I think you know the answer.
If your preference is that your strawberries are deep red on the outside, bright white on the inside, and taste like fertilizer, they'll be perfect.
You got it.
They'll be perfect.
They'll be exactly what you want. And yes, I can do that.
Strawberries are $19 a punnet in the winter, and that's what I will charge you. That's what I will charge you to go and get these strawberries. There was even a time in like November. Somebody got married in November, and they're like, "Can we get fresh strawberries?" I'm like, "I'll say yes," because like I've seen them. Literally the week before the wedding, strawberries were on sale.
Oh,
they were on sale. And I'm like, oh, amazing. This means that there will be strawberries for me. No, they were trying to get rid of the stock of strawberries because they knew they were never going to get them again. Because the week of the wedding that I needed the strawberries, not a strawberry to be found. I went to every store, not a strawberry to be found. Absent from the...
Ooh, sorry. I apologize. I can't help make noise. I'm such a fidgeter. I'm such a fidgeter.
We're going to have to get you a teddy bear.
Honestly, I need like a pillow or something too.
Do you want a little blankie? I'm about to bring that cat upstairs.
Yeah. Used to drive my mom and drive Mike crazy too, is that I can't sit still. My legs are always moving. My arms always moving. Just the thought of having to sit still makes me want to move.
Just like, don't move. Oh my gosh, just like we were on those chairs. Okay. Behind the scenes look into the TV show that we were on.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if we're going to say the name. If they want us to say the name, they have to pay us. I'm kidding. No. And they put us on twisty chairs.
Yeah.
And they said,
don't twist.
Don't move.
Oh, that was the wrong thing to say.
And they had a bar. So, they had a bar.
It was adjustable up, down, up, down.
Yeah, but they made us put our feet on boxes.
Right.
And then it was still me, swing. They're like, stop turning your body. I'm like, stop making it easy to turn my body.
You need to lock.
Maybe
you need to
I
lock
will
in
do
these
it.
chairs if you don't want me to swivel on a swivel chair.
Yeah, it's like, you can't give me something that turns and be like, but don't turn it though.
But don't.
Like, all right, you're hateful. You're hateful. In my additional research, besides planning out recording dates for the next 2 seasons.
Yes.
Closing phrases. We talked about this. So did I do this alone? No, I engaged the helpful pal ChatGPT because I realized everybody else is doing it. Why am I using my brain?
That is so cute.
Oh, yeah. That one was one of my faves.
That's very cute.
Do you like any of the other ones?
I do like number 5 too.
Yeah. I liked everything except this.
Yeah.
That was the only thing.
I like the whole until next time. Like, I like saying that. I like the baking our dreams into reality. That's super cute too.
Cool. So it could be like, we're making our dreams into reality.
I like kind of number 3. I like that setup.
All right. Until our next episode, we're off to
until
make
the
our
next
dreams
episode.
into reality.
Yes.
Okay.
love
So
those.
number 3 with a combo of 7.
Yes. So cute.
Exclamation point.
Yes.
Until our next episode, we're off to bake our dreams into reality. Success is the icing on the cake.
Yeah. You need to put the...
Is the icing. Success is the icing on the cake. We're never going to say it like that.
No, we aren't. Every time we're going to say it's
a little
different.
A little different. Until our next episode, we're off to bake our dreams into reality. Success is the icing on the cake.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Cute. I love that for eyes.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Easy eyes.
Oh.
Look, we did all the things. I think we have all the things. And then, of course, podcast ideas as well.
Yes.
Not that we needed them because we're doing great on our own, but...
So Organization Corner is now complete.
Organization Corner is now complete. What a blessing. We're so grateful.
I love you. This is so great.
Yay!
I appreciate you.
It was really fun. Should I have been doing other work? Yeah. Did I? Oh. Am I mad about it? Absolutely not. Never, ever, ever. Cute. Oh, my goodness. One thing I forgot. Getting to know you.
Getting to know all about you. Love that. So today's episode is getting to know Lenore. So we're going to kind of follow the same setup that we did with my episode.
Getting to know you, Jess.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're just going to kind of do this like interview process, but absolutely we can go off the rails as we normally do at any point in time.
Off the rails.
So first off, why don't you tell us about yourself, Lenore?
Sure. Hello.
Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yep.
Good. Good. Get that out.
Sorry, I had a thing in my throat. I drank apple juice when really I should have been drinking water, but nevertheless.
There's lots of water in apple juice.
No, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong.
So I justify drinking juice instead of water.
Jessica's beverages of choice.
Juice always. Juice and Dr. Pepper.
Juice and Dr. Pepper. That's it. Sometimes coffee.
Dr. Pepper should sponsor me. The amount of Dr. Pepper I consume.
We can ask.
I doubt it. Sorry, let's get back to it. Lenore, tell us about yourself.
My name is Lenore Johnson. I live in a tiny town named after a tiny German town just outside of Kitchener-Waterloo that was called Berlin. Oh, are we getting a theme here? We live in Germantown. We love that though. We love representing, I was going to say Germans.
The Germans? We love representing the Germans. What do you mean?
Germans, and I was like, well, anyway.
I love a deep history on anything, and I love that our town has a deep history.
Yeah. Everyone's like, Canada's brand new. It's actually not. Was it incorporated or whatever? Late, yeah, it was. But people existed here for a long, long time. And it wasn't the Germans that existed here for a long, long time. Even farther back than that. We will never read a land acknowledgement on this podcast because it's like taking somebody's water bottle, holding it, and then just telling everybody that it was their water bottle but never giving it back. But we do acknowledge that we are on some really cool lands out here. Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee. Those folks, they were here first. Anyway, doesn't matter. About me, I'm also not Indigenous here. Fun fact. My parents came here from Jamaica 97 years ago at least, and that was hyperbole.
That would make them how old and you how old?
Oh, well, I am the age I am. Oh yeah, let's say that.
Yes.
This year is my palindromic birthday year, which means I'm 33. And I'm really excited about it. I love having a palindromic birthday year.
Adorable.
My last one was 22, and then my next one will be 44. So it's only every 11 years. I think you might get 10 if you're lucky. So I treasure them, and we love palindromes. I also love onomatopoeias. So now you know that about me. What else about me? I play sports. Used to play sports, softball and volleyball. I have completed an MPFL reconstruction because of said sports on my right knee. So if it's ever really cold, it hurts.
You can tell when bad weather's coming.
I can sometimes tell when bad weather is coming, which is helpful. But that's fine. And it was an open reconstruction, so I have some pretty gnarly scars. I think I actually talked about that on the show, didn't I?
You did.
I showed them my scars.
You did.
And my hairy legs. I don't shave my legs because
who needs that maintenance?
Why would I have to?
Yeah.
I'm a mammal. I'm hairy. It's what it is.
Keeps us warm in this very cold Canadian weather.
Exactly. In the warm Canadian weather, you feel the wind moving through your leg hair, and that's nice too. Jess was attempting to drink. She had to stop. What else about me? I'm married to a man named Jameson. Not his name. His name is James, and I call him Jameson.
When you first told me about him, you kept calling him Jameson.
Yep.
So I'm like, that's his name.
Yep.
And then so when I met him for the first time, I'm like,
Yep.
Hi, Jameson. And you're like, his name's James. I was like, why would you tell me his name was Jameson?
Because I love giving people nicknames.
Yes.
And typically their nicknames are longer than their actual names. It's just what I do. Chris will never be Chris, either Christopher or Christoph. James will never be James, always be Jameson. Yeah, I don't call you Jessica though, but I will call you Jessie.
Yeah, you do. It's all right. We've already discussed this. Talked about it.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit about me. I've been running a business for almost 5 years now. Well, here in Canada for 5 years, but I actually started the business when I was living in New Zealand. I guess that's something interesting about me.
Traveled a lot.
Yeah, traveled a lot. Lived and worked on 3 different continents. North America, Europe, England specifically, and then as well Oceania, New Zealand specifically. I worked in a Michelin star restaurant, which was awesome and terrible all at the same time. But I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about ingredients. I learned a lot about standards. And yeah, it was cool for the most part. But yeah, I've traveled a lot. I think we're at like 49 countries.
That's amazing.
Yeah. More. I want more. I've not been to the continent of Africa, and I must go. Not been to South America, and I must go. And I want to do Eastern Europe, because I've mostly done Western Europe. I think the furthest east we went was like Hungary, which is not far at all. I want to go to Poland so badly.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I really want to go to Poland. I really want to eat. My motivator for travel is food.
It's food. Yeah. If I travel anywhere, I need to know like what the food situation is going to be and have a plan for where we're going and all those kind of things. Yeah. So you kind of touched on a little bit about sports, but what are your favorite hobbies when you have time?
When I have time, I like to do quiet hobbies. Counted cross stitch.
Yes.
Is a very nice hobby. Puzzles, building Lego, paint by numbers. There's a theme here. There's creativity, but it's structured.
It's very structured and it's very tiny and it's very,
creativity, but like an organization.
Yes.
Not like, well, do whatever you want. Well, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. If you give me a guide, I'd be like, oh, I want to do that. And then I can follow the instructions. So that's my favorite kind of creativity, which is why I think I'm good at my job. I need structure.
Yeah.
I need guidelines. That makes me happy.
Organization, for sure.
Very nice.
And when did you start baking?
Complicated. So my mom was a stay-at-home mom. At least I thought she was a stay-at-home mom. Apparently when I went to JK for half the day, she went to work. What?
Oh, outrageous.
She would drop me off and go to work. I'm like, I thought you were home all day. Like, no, I worked part-time. Like, to me, she was a stay-at-home mom.
Right.
To her, she was a stay-at-home mom.
Because whenever you were home, she was home.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. And I thought that's the way that it was. I'm like, we spent every day together. She's like half days on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. I'm like, oh, how interesting. And then went to school full day and she went to work full time. What? Anyway, so I bake with my mom all the time. I actually didn't realize that you could go to the grocery store and like get snacks. For the longest time, we did or my recollection of the grocery store was that those outside aisles, right?
You never went down in the middle.
Occasionally to get pasta and pasta sauce, but that's like the bean aisle. You know what I mean? You're not seeing sugary cereals. You're not seeing cookies in bags. I thought moms made cookies because my mom made cookies. So we would have like Rice Krispie squares and cookies, and mostly that my dad would make bread. So, you know, like that was kind of how I started baking, standing on a chair in the kitchen, how most folks start. Then my parents are incredibly hospitable. It's like in our genes or whatever. And we would have people over for dinner every Sunday after church. And it wasn't like 4 people. It was like 14
A lot of people. Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, well, their best friends have 3 kids and then they adopt 1 more. So their best friends had 4 kids. So if you invite them, that's 6. But you can't just have 1 family. You have to have at least 2. So then you invite the other family who also have 3 kids. And then so that's 5. And then all of a sudden you're up to 11. Oh, but only 2 families? The same 2 families? Gotta invite somebody else. Oh, there's a single person here and a single person here. So you invite them over too. And you're like, cool. In our house, we only have 12 chairs. Where's everybody else going to sit? Oh, we're just spread a blanket on the floor and you kids can eat on the blanket in the living room. And the adults will eat at the tables.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what I grew up doing. There was always room for 1 more. Always room for 1 more. It was never hush hush, you know, like, oh, we're going off to the Johnsons. It was like, oh yeah, we're going to the Johnsons. Like, oh, we were there last week, or oh, we're going next week. It was never you never had to be like shame about it because everybody was coming. And so we would bake for that as well. Cheesecakes were usually on the menu. And it got to the point where I wasn't even measuring.
You just knew it.
Yeah, I wasn't even measuring. 2 blocks of cream cheese, 1 250 milliliter container of whipping cream, like 1 cup of sugar, and 2 eggs. Put that in a water bath with a graham cracker crust that we did pre-buy, and slap those bad boys in the oven. Pull them out, open a can of cherries.
On top.
Cheesecake. Made and done. So yeah, I was doing that all the time, basically. And then I always knew that I loved baking, was passionate about it. My plan when I applied to the University of Waterloo, I was like, I'm gonna be an actuary full time, and then in my off hours, when I'm done working my 40 hours a week, I'm gonna be a pastry chef, and I'm gonna have a little pastry shop that operates on the weekends. And that was my plan from 16.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, obviously going to uni wasn't a lot of time to bake, but I made time in my dorm room with a wooden spoon and a bowl from Dollarama. I would cream butter and make chocolate chip cookies, and got the fire department called one time. Move in. Yeah. When I was a Dawn at Waterloo, and through all the cars that were lined up to come in through move in, they all had to figure out a way to get off the road so the fire trucks could come through, because it was just too hot in the kitchen. And the fire alarms went off because it couldn't have been hot for any other reason. The firemen did eat all of the cookies that I had cooling on top of the oven that I hadn't moved over into my house yet. That was hilarious to me.
I love that story.
If you were part of that in September, what would have been 2010, I'm sorry and I'm not sorry all at the same time. Yeah, and then that was it. And I went through a really dark period in my life. Suffered from insomnia that was anxiety induced, and once I kind of figured out what the heck was going on, and it all stemmed from like getting fired for the first time, to be honest. Which is crazy. I had this crazy spin out, and I'm like, I'm not doing what I want to do. I have to change my life, blah 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 blah. I started taking entrepreneurship classes at Waterloo, and Jeff Malik, thank you Jeff, changing my life, asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I want to open a bakery, and everyone else in the class tittered. Because the University of Waterloo, even back then, all about AI, all about
everything
apps, all about tech. And I'm like, I actually just want to open a bakery and like make cakes. And I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be sick. Brick and mortar store, everything's gonna die there. And Jeff was like, I started out owning like newspaper stands, and people laughed at me the exact same way. He's like, I'm gonna help you. And he had a friend who he played golf with, whose wife just opened a cake shop called the Cake Tutor. On Park in Waterloo. And he set me up with an internship there, and I went there every Wednesday, and eventually every Wednesday and Saturday, and eventually every spare time that I had. And it was the most incredible year of my life. And I was like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. Walking in the door, turning the open sign, flipping on the lights, turning on the oven, making buttercream. Simple.
The sound of an oven turning on is very satisfying, especially in the middle of winter when it's cold. Oh,
yeah. And you're like, ooh, it'll only be cold for a moment.
Yes.
I'm gonna turn this beast of an oven on, and it'll be toasty in no time.
Exactly.
T-shirt and shorts weather. Yeah. So that's kind of when I started baking and realized, oh, this is not just something that I like to do. It's like actually what drives me, wakes me up in the morning, makes me happy. And that was it.
Amazing. And what's your favorite thing to make?
To make and give to someone, or to make and eat?
Do both.
Okay.
Because I kind of touched on both too.
Yeah. To make and give to someone, I love making cakes.
Yeah.
Specifically wedding cakes. And I'll tell you why. You get 2 individual people. Yeah. And you say, person 1, what do you like? Person 2, what do you like? And when you think about your life together, what does that look like and feel like? On this day that you're celebrating each other and celebrating this union, I hate you, phone. It's because I have a meeting. Oh, excuse me, everybody. We're just going to rush. Perfect.
This is just a day in the life.
Day in the life of a business owner. Yeah. Person 1, what do you want? Person 2, what do you want? What do you envision your life together looking like? When you celebrate your day with your friends and your family all around you, like, what do you want to be the centerpiece? And they tell you. And then you make it. And you're like, that's exactly it. Yeah. Or it's even better than what we thought. And it's like, that's actually a mirror of what your life is going to be like. Person 1, what are your ideals? Person 2, what's your ideals? What's your ideals for your life together? And then you build it, and then looking at it, you're like, boy, oh boy, that is way more than I could have ever imagined or accomplished on my own. And I get to do it with this person. Oh, come on. I mean, it basically writes itself. It's a friggin' rom-com movie. It's poetry, right? Like, I love all of it. I love all of it. So I love making wedding cakes for people. It makes me really happy. It's also incredibly mathematical and requires a lot of engineering. I love that part too.
Yes.
To make and eat, I hate baking cookies, but I love the result.
Cookies, yeah.
I'm never mad. But if you leave them in for a minute too long, that's it. The cookies are torched. The entire tray of cookies are torched, which is also really sad. But I would probably have to say, like, cheesecake. Yeah. I love making cheesecake. But patience is required.
Yes.
Because you don't pull a cheesecake out of an oven and eat it. You pull a cheesecake out of an oven and you let it set up in the fridge overnight, or at least 12 hours, and then you eat it. Ooh, the amount of patience required. But it's worth it every time.
Yeah.
Every time. There you go. Wedding cakes and cheesecakes.
I love that.
And cookies while we wait.
And cookies. I think cookies are just a given for like things that, like, you know, when they're, you know, they come out of the oven, they're sitting for like 2 minutes.
Yep.
They're still slightly warm. Ooey gooey.
Ooh.
Love that.
Yum. We're here for it.
Yeah. So we touched on this a little bit, but when did you know you wanted to start a business?
So when I was 16, I knew that I wanted to start a business because my dad had really poured into me the importance of having something for yourself. Like, the entrepreneurial spirit that I have was just an outpouring of the entrepreneurial spirit that my dad had, but he wasn't able to action because of circumstance. He was an immigrant to this country, and as every person who has ever had to immigrate anywhere knows, you turn up and you're almost not a human, right? You don't exist. Anything and everything you did before no longer matters. You're here on new terra firma, and you need to figure it out again, starting from scratch though. And that is hard. That is hard. And my dad turned up here, you know, it was 10 days before his wedding when he finally got his visa approval. 10 days before his wedding, he rocked up, and he had to get a job so he could put a roof over his head, my mom's head. My mom was also working. He was new in this country. Everything that he was back in Jamaica, he was working at the American Embassy, doing their accounts for them. It's an incredibly prestigious job in Jamaica. He was getting paid very well. And then he came here and he had to work security, because that was the job that he could get because of his accent, because of his lack of education that was acknowledged here in Canada, whatever. So because of circumstance, and finally get into a rhythm, and then, you know, still the days where you got a job, you stay there for 25 years, and then you retire, which is exactly what he ended up doing. But if he could, and if he wasn't worried about creating a financially secure future for myself, my brother, my mom, himself even, I think he would have struck it on his own. So I knew that I wanted to open a business when I was 16, and then really coming into that towards the end of my time at Waterloo when I was like 21, and then figuring out, okay, how am I going to do that? Yeah, that was kind of the process.
Amazing. I really need my glasses.
Oh boy.
Font is too small.
I think the font's 73 at the moment.
Stop it right now. There we go. What were some of the places that you worked at before, and what did they make there?
Okay, so at the Cake Tutor, they made cakes, they made cookies, they made brownies. I don't think so. We do like royal icing flooded cookies and like fondant covered cookies, sugar cookies, cupcakes, cake pops. I think that was mostly their thing. They also taught classes, which was kind of cool. So that was my first thing, kind of working in the food industry. Yeah, that was my very first job in the food industry. And then I went to George Brown, studied there for 2 years. Did not work in food when I was in Toronto, actually. Studying, at least. Mostly because I was completing my degree at the same time as doing my first year of George Brown and my first year, and was also on the varsity volleyball team. So I had no time.
Yeah, you had no time for any of that.
I had no time. And then when I graduated university, I had a little more time on my hands. But I got a job at the gym because, again, I was an athlete at the time, and I was at the gym all the time anyway. So I might as well have gotten paid for that time that I was there, which I did. And it was glorious. What a wonderful existence. I did my internship at Teroni. I actually did my internship at Sud Forno, which was opening that year, with an incredible chef named Carlo Lazzarini, who's currently teaching, I think, at Seneca. And he was my first BBFL, my best baker friend and lover is what we called it. I wanted to say best friend for life, but he was like, BBFL stands for best baker friend and lover, and I'm like okay, yeah,
well, you're that now.
Yeah, that's you. And like, that was incredible. And they make, Italian. It's basically an Italian bakery, so everything that you would imagine or find in an Italian bakery we made there. And then my very first job out of school was working at a place called Danielle, which is a catering business which has been in Cabbagetown for, God, I think over 30 years now. And they make everything under the sun. Because it was catering, they had a hot kitchen, they had a cold kitchen, they had a pastry kitchen. I was hired to do their storefront, basically, specifically tarts. So all of the tarts that were in the storefront I did, and then also decorated their cakes that went into the storefront too. So I was decorating mousse cakes and devil's food cakes and whatever other cakes that they had out in the front of the shop, and then also made tarts, fresh fruit tarts, lemon tarts, pumpkin tarts, pear, sour cream, and cranberry tarts, like any tart you can think of.
Holy
we
cow.
made. And then my boss discovered my affinity for making pie dough. So every Thanksgiving, right after
Oh
TIFF,
my gosh, so much pie dough.
all of the pie dough, all by hand. Like, I could use a RoboCoupe to cut the butter, and then everything else was done by hand. And I think folks came down for lunch one day, and they're like, "Have you done anything else besides this?" I'm like, "No, just pie dough." But every pie that went out from Danielle and Danielle that year, which was hundreds, it was all my pie dough, and that was kind of cool.
That's a cool feeling.
And I loved the fact that whether they were doing something for a party of 12 or a party of 1,200, it was exactly the same. The process didn't change. The ingredients didn't change. They were all real ingredients, and it was all quality work. And you did everything the exact same way. And I loved that. While I was working there, I applied for a working holiday visa to go and move to England, and it came through. So after a mere 4 months of working there, I was like, Bonnie Kravitz was my pastry chef, and I was like, Bonnie, I got another job. And I'm leaving, but I really loved it here. And she's like, we really loved having you. I'm like, I'm so sorry. She's like, it's okay, chase your dreams.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I moved to England, and I worked at what was supposed to be a 5-star hotel. And I showed up, and it might have been a 5-star hotel, but it was a 2-star kitchen.
Oh no.
Yeah, buddy. We did afternoon tea. We did restaurant service. It's what I realized that I hate the sound of a micros printer. Anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I freaking hate it here. I hated the fact that I would ask for sugar, and they'd be like close to the end of the month. They're like, oh, we can't actually order any sugar. I'll run up to the shop and get you like a kilo of sugar. I'm like, I have to make like 47 cupcakes and eclairs and I need sugar.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we have to keep our numbers low, so we'll just have to. Oh, I hated it. I hated it there. I hated it so much. But I met Alan McLaughlin, who was, I think he was a sous chef there. And he was incredible. Scottish, but lived in London most of the time. So like, it took me a really long time to get to understand what
he was saying.
Yeah. But he was incredible. Our pastry chef left, had like a nervous breakdown. Yeah. And just pieced, like, it was almost comical. It's comical now looking back, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna like take my break and then I'll be back, and we work splits because I lived at the hotel. It sounds glamorous. It was not. They converted the stables into barely habitable
situations.
Yeah, barely habitable rooms for staff, and that's where we lived. And I came back, and the kitchen was a tip. The pastry section was a tip. No sight of our pastry chef. And it was like 6 o'clock. Dinner services almost starting. He has half finished jobs everywhere. I'm like, okay, I'm getting concerned. I'm getting concerned. Like, did somebody see him leave? Did he say anything to anybody? No. But everybody was on split. So like half the people weren't there. There was only one person at the front, blah, 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 blah. No one's seen him. At 9 o'clock, I'm like, we have to call the police. because he's missing. He's a missing person. Missing. Like, somebody needs to drive the ditches. We're in Surrey, and so it's treed and hilly and dark and not a lot of light. I'm like, we have to drive. Somebody has to go and search ditches and find him. If I'm like the next morning, early in the morning, like 6 a.m., just like in a parking lot, like a while away. He just
couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I saw that quite often, being in the industry that we are. People walking off the line, people walking out. Like, it's... Yeah.
And he never, for the time I was there, he never returned. And I was just like, what the heck? Like, what the heck? I'm like, I gotta get the heck out of here. Yeah. So it was 2 commies. Lowest level in the kitchen brigade, by the way. Lowest level, 2 commies, me and another person who was truly a commie, and I was not a commie. I was more like a CDP because I could actually run the section. And we were the ones that had to do everything. I planned the Christmas menu and the New Year's Eve menu. My chef was like, yeah, good work. And I'm like, can I get freaking help?
A little bit more
assistance,
help,
please? Can I just get some help? And so after planning the Christmas menu and getting no bonus, no overtime, no nothing, I was like, yeah, count me out. Someone sent me, maybe it was even Alan. No, I don't think it was Alan because I told him about it. Somebody sent me this listing for a pastry demi CDP at a Michelin star restaurant not that far away. And I applied, and they're like, cool, come in for an interview, get here at 7 a.m. And I was like, okay, no problem. I'd take a cab, which was like 20 pounds, which is at the time was a lot of money. It was a lot of money to me. Oh my gosh. It was a lot of money to me. My 20 pounds, given that I was like not making a lot of money. I think I was getting like 9 pounds an hour. And then they took money out for my lodging in our mold covered bathroom.
In your mold covered stable.
Oh my God. Snails. I had slugs. Anyway, I had slugs in my room. I had to put poison down. And I was like catching like 10, 15 slugs a night. Death.
That's so upsetting to me.
Like, there would be multiple times where I just sit and I moved my bed to the middle of the room because I realized it could not be on the walls because of like spiders and slugs. And I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried. And my parents bought me a TV before I left. They helped me move. And they bought me a TV before I left. And I literally would just have the TV on all night and would just sit in my bed and cry. It was terrible. It was terrible. Anyway, applied for this job. Showed up for the interview. Small team, like 7 people, and everything was just like brand new. We were just doing prep. The kitchen was quiet. That was the difference. We had a radio playing in the other kitchen. There was nothing, no sound, just the sound of work in this kitchen. Yeah, no sound in the kitchen, just the sound of work. And I met Jen, and she was the pastry CDP actually. Yeah, CDP. And I was going to be her demi, and she was like, okay, weigh this out, but don't put anything together. Just weigh it out first. And I was like, okay, no problem. And so it was like brioche and I think a sourdough and like a cookie. And so I'm weighing the things that need to go together because I've read the recipe. I'm weighing the things that need to go together, and I have everything set up, blah, 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 blah. And she came back, she's like, I told you not to put anything together. I'm like, yeah, but like the flour and the sugar and the baking powder and the lavender are all going to get blitzed so they can go in one container. And then the butter is separate, so that's in a separate container. And then this and the egg, and I kept that separate because it's like all steps. And she was like,
she wasn't expecting you were going to be that
because nobody else who had ever been hired for pastry was actually a pastry chef. Jen herself was not even a pastry chef. I, however, was the opposite. People start in pastry in Michelin kitchens because it's quote unquote easy.
Okay, right.
So they start in pastry. It's seen as like the lowest level of the kitchen. You work your way up to meat, the grill. That's what you want. You want to get on the grill on the meats. That's how you know you're the boss in the kitchen, because you're on meat, whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, like, no, I'm a pastry chef. And she was like, oh, okay. So we did all the things, and she was like, okay, do these recipes next. And it was like macarons, blah, 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 blah. Did them, and I'm piping the macarons, and she's like, they're all the same size. Yeah. Are they too big or too small? No, they're perfect.
She's trying not to have like a breakdown in the chat here.
And so we like do all the prep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how long I'm going to be here for, but whatever. Cooking. Lunch service begins. So it's probably been like 4.5 hours. Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay, come up front and like watch us plate. And it felt like Chef's Table hadn't started yet. But I'd seen like Jiro Dreams of Sushi and Kings of Pastry. And they turn on the warmer lights, and I had a white tablecloth, and plates are going up, and the food is stunning. Mm-hmm. It's so beautiful, and I'm enthralled. Like, I might cry thinking about it. I was to be in a place where everything mattered so much, and it was like such small things that they cared about, And, you know, plates are all being handled from the bottom and there are no thumbprints anywhere. And they don't even have to rim the plate because nobody's making a mess.
Nobody's making a mess
on the plate. Everything is going exactly where it needs to be. And I was like, oh my goodness, I love it here. And they're shaking the bottles, and in order to get the product from the bottom to the top, you put your pinky over and then you shake down so there's no splatter anywhere. Oh,
it's just a little thing. Yeah.
Things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And then so we start plating desserts. And we're plating. And I'm like, oh, this looks all really cool. And they're like, okay, like, let's jump on dinner prep. And I'm like, me too? Because it's 2:30 in the afternoon and I didn't anticipate being here
there that long.
And they're like, yeah, you're gonna stay for dinner? And I'm like, yeah, of course I'm gonna stay. Of course I'm gonna stay for dinner. Right, of course. And so we go back and we start prepping, and it's like sourdough, and we're proofing bread to bake for dinner. We've just baked bread for lunch, and we're doing all this other prep. And Jen was like, we've actually finished all the prep for today, which like never happens. And so she gets the head chef and she's like, yeah, we're actually done all our prep. And he's like, okay, we'll take a break. And I'm like, oh, cool, we'll take a break. It's 4:00. And he's like, yeah, so 20 minutes and we'll see you back. I'm used to working splits, so I was expecting like hours off. I'm like, oh, sure, yeah, we'll be back 4:30 because we have to go through the ordering and then blah blah blah. Okay, cool. Go across to the bar across the street. She's like, the only reason we got a break is because you're here.
She's never had a break before. Oh wow.
Don't get breaks.
Yeah.
The only reason we got a break is because you're here. And there were 2 of us and we were able to get the work done. And like the only reason we got a break is because you're here. And I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. Finish up our 20-minute break. That's also the day I meet Riley, who's Jen's boyfriend at the time. These are my best friends from Australia, by the way. This is how I met her. And I'm obsessed with them. We go back and we do dinner service, and it's the same thing again, except now I got the opportunity to plate a dessert for the first time. And they're like, yeah.
What a feeling.
Get at this. It was a full restaurant, 40 tables, most of them 9-course dessert, discovery menus, tasting menus, right? And pastry was responsible for 4 of the courses, bread to start. And in order to do bread, we put little rochers, so a single spoon Cannelle, right? Cannelle usually use 2 spoons. A rocher, like a football sized amount of whipped butter. The butter was whipped in a Paco Jet, which is a $25,000 machine.
Oh my God.
And in order, they're like, okay, well, if you're going to do bread service, you have to be able to do perfect rochers. And I'm like, okay. And so we got back from our break and Jen was like, here's your whipped butter and you just need to do rochers for the next until I tell you to stop. And I was like, okay. And so I'm like doing rochers. And she's like, yeah, that one's good. That one's bad. Like, see, it's not smooth here, blah, 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 blah. And I did rochers for an hour.
Oh.
For an hour. All I did was rocher butter, put it on the board, rocher butter, put it on the board. She'd come by and inspect. The butter would go back into the tin, rocher butter, put on the board, rocher butter, put on the board. She's like, I think you'll be okay for service. And that was my job. Slicing sourdough, heating up the roasted red pepper brioche, and rochering butter and putting it on the board. So we do bread, we do pre-dessert, we do cheese, and then we do, pre-dessert, dessert, and then cheese. Yeah. Those are the 4 courses that pastry was responsible for. And eventually when I was done, bread service, clean down your bread service and you go back to desserts and you just wait for your pre-desserts. Well, you don't typically just wait. I, however, just waited and Jen was running around like mad woman and whatever. And we eventually, come down to the end of service and we're cleaning down and they're like, yeah, today was good. You did great. Do you want the job? I'm like, yeah, I would love the job. They're like, okay, we're going to stay and clean, but you can go home early. I'm like, early? It's 12 o'clock at night.
I like how that's early.
It's 12 o'clock. I've been here for 16 hours.
Yeah.
And it was an interview.
Yeah.
I'm like, here's all your paperwork. And it was like, I don't know, can't remember. I was getting paid maybe like 18,000 pounds a year. And there's a little piece of paper to sign that said, I will work over 48 hours without blah, 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 blah. Because they got to get you to sign away.
Yeah, you have to sign away your rights. That's the thing, working in this industry, working in a kitchen, it's what a lot of people don't realize is that you're not just coming in for dinner service. You're not starting at 5 o'clock. When the kitchen or when the restaurant closes at say 10 o'clock, the kitchen is still there until 12. Cleaning. Or even worse, if the restaurant's open until 12, which the restaurant that I was working in was open until 12, that means we're not leaving until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yep. And that was us on Saturday nights when we did a really big clean down because we're going to be gone for 2 days. Everything has to be perfect. Yeah. So the things that they made, everything under the sun, I mean, it was incredible. It was a 9, you had a discovery, which was 9 courses. You had a journey, which was like 7. Eventually we started doing a la cartes for lunch. The lunch menu changed every month, like the desserts, everything tip to top, like top to tail.
Gorgeous.
It was stunning. It was stunning. Loved it there. Left that other job. So happy to be moving on, but then I had to find a place, blah, 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 blah. So that's what we did there. After that, I got a call from my dad after being there for about 8 months. And he had been diagnosed with cancer. And I was like, okay, well, I'm coming home. And he's like, no, there's nothing to do now. I'm going to have surgery. And then, we'll see how we go. So I was like, okay. And he's like, you can just stay, just hang tight. Did surgery. He called, again. I've spoken to my dad, by the way, before this. He's not just calling me with bad news. These are specific calls. And he called in like August and we're like, yeah, so the surgery was not a cure as they thought. And I'm like, right. So now I'm coming home.
Yeah.
Because I'm coming home. I'm coming home. So I put in my notice. The notice period in England is 1 month. So I was like, cool. In September, I'm going to be leaving. And that's what I did. I packed up my house and sold my car and I came home and I called Bonnie like, so here's the situation, my dad has cancer, I'm coming home, blah 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 blah. And she's like, yeah, if you want a job, you have one. So I came home to a job and stayed with my dad for 3 months and drove him to all his doctor's appointments and made sure that he was comfortable and like allowed my mom to like have a bit of a break because she'd been his sole caretaker and my brother was out of the house already, so it was just them kind of going through it. And eventually my dad was like, there's nothing more you can do. You can't do any. I'm just sitting here and I'm just waiting. You should go back. And now this was January, and I'm like, Bonnie, I come to you once again, having only worked here for 4 months, and I tell you that I'm going back to England. She's like, yeah, absolutely, go. Chase your dreams. So I'm like, oh my God.
I love that. I love that.
That's with her.
That's the type of boss too that I try to be as well. Is like, I had somebody that was supportive of my dreams, and I always try to, support, employees as well.
Yeah. That's exactly it. Exactly it. It's like, no, you just go.
You need people like that.
Yeah. So I moved back to England, and this time I was like, I have a purpose. I know exactly what I want to do. I don't want to work in another Michelin star restaurant. It was terrible. I hated it. And not because of the food that we were producing, just because of dynamics. It was really hard.
Yeah.
It was really, really hard. And it didn't have to be that hard, but my chef was an asshole. And so it was hard. Yeah. If that man got hit by a bus in front of me, I'd be like,
oh, wow. I hope the bus is okay.
Bury this. Which like doesn't bring me joy to say that, but like truly, I just like the things that he has said to me and the things that he has done to me. I was just like, this is just not how you treat a human being, much less your employee. But I'm a human being at the end of the day. And, people, and they're like, yeah, it's because of him that you have this opportunity and blah, 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 blah. If all anybody can say at the end of the day is that you made good food, but you were a shit human, is it worth it? Is it worth it? It's not worth it. Right? It's not worth it.
No.
And like whatever circumstance has it, he got divorced and he lost his restaurant in the divorce.
Oh, shocking.
Anyone
else shocked?
Yeah, well, in other news, he hoodwinked another woman to finance his next restaurant. She did it. Also now split up. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Freaking that drama. I hate that man. No, I don't hate him. I'm working on it. Forgiveness can come later. Anyway, after that, when I went back, I was like, I want to work in Wimbledon. I want to live in Wimbledon. I need that. And I'm like, I don't want to work. I want to make cakes. I've gotten so far away from what I wanted. However, in England, it's like they take your CV as Bible. They're like, oh, you worked in a restaurant. That means you're a restaurant pastry chef. And I'm like, I can actually do
a lot more
than that. And they're like, yeah, but you worked in a restaurant, so you're a restaurant pastry chef. And I'm like, I just need somebody to look at my friggin' paperwork and not see me as a restaurant pastry. I applied to every cake shop and I would go in and I would do trials. And like, yeah, you're really good. Like, will you hire me? They're like, nah, you're really, you're a restaurant pastry chef.
I'm not.
God, can I get some grace? And then it wasn't that I was a restaurant pastry chef. Now it was, I only have 1 year. Not only restaurant experience, but I only have 1 year left on my visa. They're like, you can only work for us for 1 year. I'm like, oh, but I could stay on afterwards. Like, nah, having a timeline is like not helpful. I'm like, okay. So then I started doing temp work, and through my temp work, I was hired at Hotel Cafe Royal, which is a 5-star luxury hotel in the middle of Piccadilly Circus or Soho. And they just kept asking me back, and they kept asking me back, and they kept asking me back. And they would be, the crazy part is that they'd be hiring people to work in my position. So I was doing afternoon tea. They had hired people and they'd interview them, and they would hire them. They'd stay 2 weeks and then they'd leave, or they stay 3 weeks and then they'd leave. And then one time my chef was like, thank you so much, Lenore. I think we have somebody who's going to stick around for a while. So we're going to, we just won't ask for you back next week. And I'm like, yeah, okay, no problem. But pastry chefs are in great demand. And so I found another job, and I was working there, and it was called Blue Strawberry Catering or something like that. And, we're doing the Chelsea Flower Show and doing weddings at the Victoria and Albert Museum.
Oh my goodness.
Freaking incredible. It was incredible. incredible. And I have the freedom and capability to do whatever I want. So I get a part-time job because of course I do. And now I'm a guide on a retro route master going through London and to weddings and corporate events. And I know so much. My first tour, I'm like, and in Grosvenor Square. And they're like, it's pronounced Grosvenor Square.
Like, oops.
I was like, oh, cool. Grosvenor Square. Anyway, stunning. Loved everything about it. Like, what a wild ride. Picking up shifts at like the Tate Modern Museum and like anywhere and everywhere basically that I could. All this time, Cafe Royal, through my recruiter, is like, hey, are you available? I'm like, no, I have like a steady thing and they like me here and I'm going to stay here. And they're like, yeah, that person didn't work out and now they're missing somebody. I'm like, oh, sucks to be them. They could have hired me.
They could have hired you. Yeah.
The best thing that came out of Cafe Royal, which after a while, I was just like, you know what? If they pay me £2 more an hour, I'll come back. And they're like, yeah, done.
Oh, nice. I love that.
So I'm like, thank you. Blue Strawberry, really appreciate you. But the commute's long and I have a place and my friend works there and I'm going to go back. This is my friend Sion, my other best friend who's from Australia. We met at Cafe Royal and it was like day one. We're like, are we going to be best friends? I'm like, yeah, we're going to be best friends. And it was decided and we were best friends. Boom. So yeah, it was afternoon tea. It was a cafe. So it was eclairs. It was like tiny Victoria sponges. It was like little dipped mousses on little sablé crackers. It was scones every day, but you had to work up to scones because not everybody can make scones. But I was the only person that was allowed to make jam because I was the only person who didn't burn it. And it was like, it'd be kilos and kilos of fruit. Kilos of fruit, like 3 ginormo pots of jam all at the same time. It ended up being a great time. I was a temp worker, they were fine with that. I'm like, you're paying me much more than you have to. But I didn't care. I was getting more money than the people who were working there permanently. And I did my time. And at the end, my visa was ending. And I was like, boy, oh boy, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'm like, these folks won't sponsor me to stay in this country because they don't care. And my best friend from home, who I met at culinary school, was working in New Zealand at the time. She was supposed to come to London and do a working holiday with me, but she chose New Zealand instead. And she was like, I can ask my chef if she needs a pastry chef. You can make wedding cakes here. And I was like, if she says yes, that's the only reason I would move to New Zealand. And time difference is weird. So either I went to work and she went to bed, or I went to bed and she went to work and I woke up in the morning and she's like, yeah, she looked at your portfolio and you can have the job. So,
oh, wow.
Get your butt down here. And I'm like, cool. I was already going to Australia because Jen and Riley were getting married.
Back there. Yeah.
Yeah, they were going home and they were getting married. And I was like, cool, I'll just buy a one-way ticket from Australia to New Zealand and Bob's your uncle. And I got to New Zealand and I worked at a winery and I made wedding cakes. And then after 6 months, my boss was like, you should be doing this on your own. We're not paying you enough to do this. And you're definitely not making enough money.
Wow.
Turning out what you're turning out. And you should do this on your own. And I found a little kitchen to rent. It was in a storage container that another guy who was running a food truck, that's where he baked out of and made all his food out of. And I rented it from him from $40 a day. It didn't matter how long I was there for. I gave him $40.
Wow.
And I could make whatever I needed to, and that's all I needed. And I could decorate at home. That was allowed. So I'd have to make all of my things, but I could put it in a proper kitchen. But I could assemble it in my home kitchen, which was awesome. And that's what I did. And to supplement my income, I waited tables at an Italian restaurant down the street. And that was it. Those are all the places I've worked at. Those are all the things I've done until I came back home to Canada again, visa ending. And, you make a decision. Do you go to another place and not be a human being for 4 months while you set up your life and reestablish another customer base and reestablish who you are and what you do and make new connections and try to make new friends in a new place? Again, this would be my 4th time. And I was like, no, I don't want to. I'm going to go back to the country that I am a citizen of, where they can't kick me out and they can't tell me what I can and cannot do or what jobs I can and cannot have. New Zealand would have been happy to have me as a pastry chef, but I would have had to work for somebody else for 3 years until they sponsored me, and I could not do my own business. But I'm like, but I'm actively doing my own business. And it was devastating to be like, oh yeah, this very profitable, very viable thing, I now have to just put it aside and that be the end of it. Mm-hmm. And even for the first year that I was back in Canada, I was still getting messages on Instagram being like, are you still in Waiheke? Are you no longer making cakes? We want a cake for Mudbrick for this time. We were hoping for a cake to be delivered to Goldie. Yeah, I can't do it. Sorry.
In a completely different country.
I don't live there anymore. I can't do it. Sorry. And like all of the time traveling, it just really cemented for me how incredible my parents are as immigrants to this country. To leave everything that you know, everything that makes you comfortable and happy and the people that know you the best, and to say, no, I'm going to go to this other place where I don't know anybody and I don't know anything, or I know one person, but I also can't rely on them for everything because they're also trying to live their life and make a go of it and like be successful at it. It takes a lot. It's not easy. It takes a lot. Like, I had the opportunity to return home knowing that I had good prospects at home, better prospects at home than I could have in New Zealand, because I would have had support from my family and blah, 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 blah. They didn't have that in the country that they were leaving. They didn't have better prospects. That's why they're going. So like, people, especially now, we're definitely in a climate now where everyone's whinching and bitching about immigration and blah, blah, blah. There's some of it which is exploitative, sure. Yeah. But there are genuinely people who came here to make a better life for them and their families, and to not take the piss and not to take advantage. And they're all being lumped together with like the students who are currently exploiting the system. And that's not what it is for them. They left good jobs to come here and drive Uber, or to be security guards like my dad was 40 years ago. And because of their accent or because of their education that doesn't transfer or costs a lot of money to get it to transfer, they're doing the jobs that Canadians don't want to do and wouldn't do in service industries, the industry that we work in.
There's a whole reason why there was this opening for immigrants to come here, because there was a surplus in jobs that Canadians, like, we don't have to really get into this right now.
We don't, but it's true.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And it's not about, we need to like shut down, integrate. Like, just be a little bit more responsible in what you're doing. And this whole thing too, like, where we have people that, like your dad, who had all this education and work experience behind him. And as Canadians, we were like, no, you need to start over. And people do that, are like doctors in other countries. And then they come here and like, you need to start all that over. Why? Why is there not a process where you can put them through testing, or you can put them to see if they match our standards that we have, instead of being like, no, you have to wait 6 years or whatever. Like, why are we saying no to that? That's absolutely ridiculous.
And they will do it. Yeah. Right. They'll match your education. Process is $5,000. It takes 6 months, and like, you can leave with a degree from somewhere else, and they're like, we'll give you your first 2 years off of a 4-year education. You want me to pay international student fees? And then what? Okay, cool. So you're setting me back $30,000 in 2 years for me to prove what I already know.
That's absolutely ridiculous to me.
Anyway,
back to Lenore.
Anyway, so yeah, definitely made me really grateful. And then I came home, and then I made this business, LenJo Bakes. It was actually called the same thing, LenJo Bakes in New Zealand.
So that was how long ago when you started LenJo Bakes?
I guess it would have been 26. Well, officially 2017. Actually, March 2017.
March 2017.
So what is that? 7.5
years.
And I've been here 5 years. So I did it for two years. 18 months, actually.
Amazing.
I did my thinky print. That was a long-winded answer. Sorry, y'all.
No, that's okay. You have
I'll trim it up.
Very extent. Like, there are so many things on my CV which I either have blacked out or I just don't remember. So what goals do you have as an entrepreneur?
Oh, I just want to be kind, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want to be a good boss.
Yeah.
I want to be a good boss. I want to be happy.
Yeah.
Definition of success is not to be
rich.
Yeah. I don't see success as being rich. If I did, I would use my economics degree.
Yeah, I would not be in the industry that I am.
I would use my degree and get a job in a corporate world that's soulless and requires very little input from me other than time, and trade it for much more money than I earn now. But I actually like to be happy. So.
Not saying that people that are in that industry are soulless people, but to us, that's why for a lot of people that are in those and doing our job would be seen as something that would be not make them happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just don't want people blasting us in our comments.
I mean, you can feel whatever you want to feel.
Yeah, feel what you want to feel, but I just want to cover that.
Yeah, I do refer to folks who wear corporate jobs as corporate monkeys often because it's not my circus and not my monkeys, right? Yeah. Like very, very that attitude. Like, yeah. Anyway. I just didn't find joy in showing up to work and pressing buttons on a computer.
Yeah, we've both been there. We both worked in that type of situation, and it just wasn't doing that portion of our jobs. We have to do it a little bit, and
it still doesn't fulfill me.
And I postpone that. I postpone that as long as I can, because it's the worst part. And what has been your proudest moment in your business to date?
I'm the kind of person that has a hard time looking backwards and seeing accomplishments. I see the things that I did not accomplish, the things that I have yet to accomplish. Yeah. But I don't see the things that I have accomplished, which is sad. But it's who I am as a person. So like my proudest moment to date, I don't know. Truly, I don't know. I guess like, opening the doors.
Yeah, like, I feel like everything that you have that I can think of, like not to answer your question for you, but like the proudest moment of like opening your doors, it comes with a little bit of a cloud on top, because when you opened your brick and mortar here in Kitchener, it was right, like not even a month before everything, or the same month that everything shut down because of pandemic. Yeah. You know, so, but I mean, you should be absolutely proud that you started a business, you had it, you know, had your brick and mortar opened up and were able to survive through that.
Yeah. Like genuinely, like when I think of March 2020, I actually don't ever think of March 2020.
We don't talk about March
2020. Let's see what happened on the 16th of March. There was that mandate that everything was kind of going to shut down for the next 2 weeks. That was also the day I got served the first time in my life, and only time, knock on wood, that will never happen to me again. Thank you. Served with a suit from my contractors because they're mad that I didn't pay them the full price of what they charged me. But I was mad that I came back from being away for 6 weeks, which they knew about, and calling and checking in. And they're like, progress is being made. Everything is great, blah, blah, blah. And opening the door to an unfinished shop when I was supposed to open 8 days later. And I was like, well, what the heck is this? And they're like, oh, yeah, well, like nobody was here pushing us along. I'm like, you needed me to tell you to do your job? You need me to tell you to do your job? Are you dumb? So, yeah, I gave myself a 10% discount, which was not a lot at all. 10% off of, you know, a $60,000 job is $6,000. That's all. That was contingency, if anything. And obviously you weren't doing any work. So I was paying you for nothing. I'm like, well, now we have to pay our guys overtime. That's not
my problem.
None of this is my problem.
We had an agreement.
None of this is my problem. If I forgot somebody's cake and I'm like, well, now I have to pull an all-nighter to get it done for you. Be like, you should have been working. What are you doing? So like, yeah, that all happened all at the same time. And like that suit lasted until nigh on Christmas of 2020. We got a settlement December 19th for $600 more than I offered them initially. So they still didn't get everything they wanted. And it was just grief and heartache for me for 9 months trying to operate a business with this huge lawsuit. And like the accusations were wild, that I didn't have the money, that I refused to pay them, that I was insolvent. They sued me, they sued the corporation, they sued my landlord. Like other people are being dragged into this. They have to hire lawyers. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? All of this on my head whilst trying to navigate a business during a pandemic, which people are like, we've never seen anything like this before. And I'm like, I didn't even know this could happen. Yeah. All of this happening in the first year of business, like, and it's Christmas time, and you know, like, it has not been an easy route at all, which is why I think we were like, well, look at all you achieved. I'm like, yes, but all of it has an asterisk beside it. Yeah. Every moment in that first year has an asterisk beside it, because I was barely going home, and when I was going home I was crying myself to sleep because I'm so overwhelmed, and like so overwhelmed, just so overwhelmed. Every day I was waking up and I was like facing a tidal wave, not knowing how to swim. That's how it felt to describe it in words. So yeah, proudest moment, I don't know, can't, don't know.
Would you say that was like your lowest moment?
God, yes. Yeah. The next would have been, you know, last November, coming home from my honeymoon and 4 days later having an entire team quit at a second location, and then having to figure out how to fix it. And like the entire time being like, well, what was wrong? Oh, you know, so-and-so said they were unhappy for a long time. I wish you would have told me.
Yeah, communication at
I
any
wish they would have told me that they were unhappy, and instead, you know, everybody's in the group chat just all day long in the group chat, and just sowing seeds of division and watering said seeds, and they're blooming into big ass trees. Yeah, when not one person spoke to me about it.
There's nothing to do as soon as you have one person that was like, you know, this kind of sucks about work. Yeah, I feel that way too. Yeah, I feel that way too. Oh, what about this? Like things that were never really issues, it seems now have become huge problems. Right. And instead of, like, I remember talking. I was going on vacation for a week, and I was actually going away. I was going to Jamaica with my sister, and I had not gone on vacation in years. And I was very excited for this trip. We had hosted a kids camp the week before I was going. I was so drained and tired at the end of that week that I got so sick. I didn't think I'd be able to get on a plane to go because I'm sick. Yeah. And I don't like, they're not going to let me on this plane.
Right.
And I'm like, my entire trip is ruined. And one of my employees was angry with me and wouldn't speak to me. And I'm like, please talk to me about what you're upset about because I don't want to leave for this trip with this hanging over us. Yeah. You not talking to me about what's just like, I don't want to talk to you about this right now. I'll talk to you when you're back.
Well, I love that for me. Thanks. Fun fact, folks, we're human beings. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
Just a small reminder that we're actual human beings.
The entire time that I am gone, I'm stressing about what she's saying to other employees, why she won't talk. Like,
she's not even here. She left me with all this work and she didn't even try to clear things up. And you don't get to say.
No, I can't say anything. So eventually I get back from my vacation. And she does sit down and she talks to me. And she's like, I think it was illegal for you to have a kids camp here. What?
Excuse me.
What?
What part?
She said having children here without everyone having a police check was illegal.
It's actually not a requirement for you to have a police check. It's like a nice to have.
It's a nice to have.
And if a parents felt uncomfortable about it, they didn't have to leave their kid with you.
They signed a whole agreement as to what was the other two employees that I had that were helping me to leave the camp were underneath the age of 19. You know, like
they were children themselves.
They were children themselves. So it was. I'm like, I wish you had just spoken to me. Sure. I could have. I'm like, I also had an extra insurance covering us for that week because I had extra bodies in the shop. I had like all these things that I was taking care of on my end. You know. Also, I have a police check, so I had that. So if any parent needed it, you know, we had that. I also trust my staff and all that kind of stuff. Like, I would never put these children in any kind of situation. I'm like, if you had just
spoken to me about
this, you know.
And you've had 7 days to go to everybody else on the team and
exactly.
And you found yourself in a very similar situation to me, where a lot of your team left
around the same time, and every one of them had different reasons for wanting to leave, whether it was pay or they found another job or they just weren't happy, which is
fine. You know,
that's fine. That is absolutely fine. But I had 3 employees all leave within the span of the same amount of time, and a couple weeks before the first employee left, I had to let somebody go. So I had 4 people pretty much all within the span of the same time leave. So it's been in this industry, it is tough. There is a rotate. I do have another employee who is leaving, like one of my cake decorators. He's leaving, but he's very Johnny.
Okay.
He's fine with me saying his name.
Okay.
He's adorable and he's sweet and he's young, and you know, he wrote me a letter and all this kind of stuff about how much he's, you know, loved working there and he's learned so much. But an opportunity came up. Great. Sure. He's like, I can't wait to tell you all about it. I can't wait to hear it. Yeah. You know, but finding a cake decorator is hard. And I, you know, did, you know, invest a lot of time and training into, you know, that's the thing is
all the staff every time.
All the staff every time. And it's not just something that's like, oh, just find somebody else. It's actually, okay, I just could pull somebody off the street.
A random.
But the hours and the time that you spend training, that's money. Yeah, that's, you know, you're investing time and emotion and feeling into somebody, you know. So I'm gonna miss Johnny, but I'm proud of him.
Johnny.
And he's the sweetest.
He's gonna be mad that we still haven't told him anything about the show.
He's gonna be so mad. He thinks he knows everything, but
of course. Yeah, no, it's funny when people are like, well, you're a business owner. Yeah, you're right. I am a business owner and I've taken on a lot of responsibility, and I hold that responsibility in high regard in my life. Right. I prioritize I don't even prioritize my business. I prioritize my staff. Yeah. Right. If I was to close the shop, I'd close the shop for weeks at a time. If it were up to me, if I didn't have staff that trusted me to ensure that they could earn money. Yeah. right? That was a contract that we entered into together. Mm-hmm. If it was up to me and I felt, oh, I don't want to go to work today, I wouldn't go to work. I wouldn't make sure there were supplies there so that you could do your job. I wouldn't care about who's coming. I just wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. I just wouldn't do it. But I do. And it's not because of my business, whatever, my reputation. It's fine. Right. It's fine. Oh yeah. She was closed. Yeah. Y'all, I was tired.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And if it's not okay. Yeah. I can't change anybody's perspective of me. That's fine. Their perception. I can't change it. But like, I wake up every day to ensure that the people who I hired can have work and I can get money for them because they're trading their time for money. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Mm-hmm. But like at the end of the day, if you look at me and you see, well, you should have done I don't, it's funny. You don't go to business leader school. You don't go to business leader school. You don't go to manager school. No. What worked in one place will not work with another. What worked for one person will not work with another. I am learning as much as you are learning, and I can only rely on my experience. If you don't talk to me like a normal human being, I can't do anything to change anything about the circumstances that you're experiencing if you're not happy. Mm-hmm. If we have a conversation and you're like, yeah, that still won't work for me. Okay, no problem. But what's unkind is for you to have this idea that I am purposefully singling you out, making you feel uncomfortable, choosing to ostracize you or make you feel terrible, or I'm not doing any of that. And sometimes it's also not just about you. You're 1 out of 10. And it's not to diminish how you feel. It's just, I'm balancing 10 people other than myself just in this one arena. Yeah. And trying to do everything that makes everybody happy. It's hard.
It's impossible to do.
It's like hard job.
It's also like having to adjust myself to make sure that, because you want to make sure that your employees are happy and all that kind of stuff, but you can only do so much, because I think I am not a morning person. I'm very quiet in the morning. And if somebody walks in, I don't go, hey, how are you doing today? Like sometimes I just don't talk like at all. And people will, and I'll tell people that I'm not, but I think sometimes they forget that. So they're like, oh, Jessica hates me, or she's angry with me, or she's actually, I'm just not a morning person. I would much rather be in bed. And I'm just trying to
This is why I appreciate you so much, because we're recording these in the morning. I am 1,000,000% a morning person.
I think I just need some time. Like I have the drive here, time to kind of wake up. But as soon as I get in, like I'm just like, I need time, Yeah. So yeah, it's tough.
It is tough. I thought there's no class on being a business leader or business owner. I am actually taking a leadership class right now.
Amazing.
And it's called like leading with anxiety or leadership anxiety or tackling leadership anxiety. I don't know. I have no idea. But they're like, there's 4 spheres where anxiety kind of lives. And anxiety is really, if people don't realize it, that's actually what you're feeling when you're feeling like, oh, about someone. There's like the anxiety within you. We all know what that's like, to be anxious within ourselves. The anxiety between me and somebody else. The anxiety between others. And then the anxiety, I don't know. I've not paid attention enough, obviously. But what really got me is like the anxiety between me and another person. Oh, the anxiety between me and another person. The anxiety in somebody else. So there's the one that's between you and somebody else, and there's the one that's just entirely in somebody else. You and I, Jessica, often get caught up in the anxiety in somebody else.
Yes, we do.
Because we are watching how they're behaving, how they're saying something. I think this might be true for other people, but I can only speak on us.
Yes, exactly.
I could also just speak on me, but I'm like,
no,
I know we're the same in this. I know we're the same in this regard. Yes. We get caught up with what's going on with that person, how they said hello, how they said good morning, how they reacted when I asked them to do something. And then we are like, what the heck what did I do? I must have done something for them to answer me in this way. This must have happened. And in the same way that we're like, I wish they would just talk to me. We also wish that we would just speak to that person to be like, so is something happening here, or am I going insane?
Am I just imagining things? Or are you
like, are you all good? Are we happy? Are we content? But then you're needy. And as a business owner, you can't be needy.
You can't be needy.
And then you are, constantly checking in, and that's because we are anxious people, and that's what we do, because we don't want anyone else to be anxious. We definitely don't want to be causing anxiety between anybody else. We want everyone to be happy. We have to be taking care of everyone else, and and there's literally like, we're only on chapter 2, maybe chapter 4, I think.
4.
I'm sure there's more to come in this book, and I'm sure a resolution will appear. As of now, I'm like, yeah, that describes exactly how I feel. I wish I could solve everything. I am interpreting every body movement, every reaction, every look of the shoulder, every fridge door slam.
Oh, the fridge door slam.
Every heavy put down of the vanilla bottle. I'm analyzing, because I'm just like, are you all good? Are we all good? You can have a bad day. Yeah. I can't. Right?
Yeah.
As the owner, can't have a bad day, right? Because then everybody else is doing exactly what we're talking about. I'm like, oh, well, obviously she's pissed about something. It actually has nothing to do with you. Respectfully, it has nothing to do with you. Love you a lot.
Yeah.
But it has nothing to do with you. So just a note for next time. I don't know what we're going to do with our society. We're all walking around anxious bunches of babes. And all we really need to do is have a conversation. And then people are like, well, I don't like confrontation. It's like, this is not confrontation. This is just a conversation, which are two different things. I don't know what we're going to do. I am sympathetic for your hiring position that you were in right now. We hired someone for the summer. We had to let them go. Well, we didn't even let them go. They told us they weren't coming back, but I'm like, the results of the same. You're no longer here. And they're like, I just feel like I can't do anything right. And I'm like, you have only at-home baking experience, and we are professionals. 99% of the things that you are going to do are not going to be right. And you knew that coming in, because I told you the learning curve would be steep. And I praise you every time you do something right, and I correct you every time you do something wrong. What feels like you're always correcting me. Yeah.
Because you're constantly doing things wrong. If I don't,
it's not even wrong, just not to the standard.
Yeah.
That can go out the door with my name on it. Yeah. We have a standard here, and you have to uphold it. And you're learning. I'm not like, oh, you're so dumb. Why didn't you do it this way? I'd be like, oh, actually, let's do it this way instead. Because I always give a because.
Yeah. Give a reason.
Because, oh, okay. But you're growing resentment in your heart at me over that. But you knew that was going to be the deal. Baby, the way you do it at home cannot be the way that you do it here. And the way that I ask you to do it here is for a specific reason. I assure you I'm not just making things up as I go along, but I've been doing this for a long time now, a very long time now. And I have learned the way to do things. If you come up with a way that is better or more efficient, ideally both better and more efficient, we'll adopt it.
I will listen to that all day long. But until that day comes,
you got to do it the way I'm telling you to do it.
You have to do it the way that I am asking you to do it.
I could apologize for it, but I won't. I'm like, we can't send something out if it doesn't. No, I get that, but it's just having you tell me all the time is really frustrating. So you get that it can't go out that way, but I can't tell you how to do it properly. So do you want me to come behind you and do your job again? Or would it be beneficial for me to tell you how to do it correctly so that I won't have to come back behind you and do your job? What do you want from me? Listen to what you're asking for. And think of how I can do it. Listeners, if you have any suggestions on how I can not let product which is below the standard go out the door, but also not correct the person who I've hired to do the task, if you have a way of doing that, please let me know. I'm open to learning, genuinely open to learning, but I also, I'm confused.
It's not like we're being rude. It's just
not at all.
No. Yeah. Being corrected or being like, any kind of time that you're saying, okay, I always try and word it, nicely, I guess, too. It's like, okay, I see that we made a misstep here, but this is what it should look like when it comes out. So we need to do it again. And then people just genuinely just don't like being told that they think that something is fine. And if we say it's actually not, it's a completely understandable human feeling. But we just have to move on because that's how we get better. If you don't want to get better and you don't want to learn, we're still doing the same thing. We go to classes. We let people that know more than us teach us things because the more that we observe, the better we get. We don't say, I'm good now. I've learned all I can learn. I've, all that kind of stuff. There's always going to be somebody better. Always. And you have to be willing to let somebody show you those things. And more importantly, when they say it needs to be done this way, continue to do it that way, and then we won't have to continually bring it up.
Yep.
You know, so
I love being a business owner. I really, 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 really do. I really do. I think it's like the managing of people.
Yeah.
Both their, not even my staff, customers too, managing their expectations.
I had trouble managing just my own feelings.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
having to manage everybody else's and not take things personally is hard.
I tasted this and I thought it was terrible. Oh, okay. But I hate that ingredient. Okay.
I hate apples. And then I ate your apple spice cupcake and it was terrible. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you for sharing. What do you want me to say? Genuinely, what do you want me to say? Oh my gosh. Anyway, there was a lot of not dribble. There was a lot of tangential speaking. Mm-hmm. Good word.
That was a really good word.
Thank you.
Save that one in the books.
Pocket. But all in all, when it comes down to it, that's who I am. Mm-hmm. I'm just a girl. As it said on my Instagram profile. I'm just a girl
looking for another cake decorator.
Oh, well, that's this girl. If you know anybody who wants to decorate
that's
cakes.
That's me, Lenore.
Good. Yeah, I'm actually not looking for another cake decorator. I'm going the opposite direction.
You are. I saw that. You're making changes. We'll have to talk about that next.
Making changes. Yeah. Kind of like, why are your hours shorter? Because I want to live a life.
Yeah.
Because I want to thrive and not just survive. You should be open more. No.
Yeah, you're definitely going to get some people that are going to be commenting.
Yeah, already. But you know what? When we started, we were only going to be open on Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah, that was always the intention.
Always the intention.
It was just you made changes
and we were going to have 3 kinds of cookies, cinnamon rolls, 2 types of squares, 2 types of rinds, 6 macarons, and that was it. And now our menu is
huge.
Ginormous. So really, we're just going back to the business model that we never got to do.
Yep.
And we're going to see how it goes. And guess what, folks? This is the benefit of being an entrepreneur and running your own business. If it all goes tits up, pear-shaped, I can just make a change.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Imagine that. This isn't working. Change. Find something that works. Mm-hmm. Does this work? No. Change. Find something. Does this work? Yes. Oh, okay. What about with this caveat? Nope, that caveat doesn't work. Okay, change. What about with this caveat? Yeah, actually, that caveat works. Amazing. We found something that works. And what do we have to do? Iterate. That was it. That's all we had to do. Y'all think you're walking around in shoes that were idealized on the first try? They weren't. Absolutely everything that you sit on, use, write with, touch, went through multiple iterations. And guess what? Businesses do the exact same thing. If there is somebody who out there who came up with a business idea and their very first example of it was an absolute success, home run, didn't have to change anything. Listen, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. Email us, bakesinaboxpod at gmail.com. Tell us, what was your idea that was a bang out A+ winner and you've not had to make any iterations? I'm interested. Teach me. I want to learn. I want to learn.
Anyways, guys, until our next episode, we're off to bake our dreams into reality. Success is the icing on the cake.
Hey, yo. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Bakes in a Box.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Have any questions or want us to talk about a specific topic, baking, business, or life? Send us an email at bakesinaboxpod@gmail.com.
Find these details and more in today's show notes.